Hey everyone. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jessica Ehrenworth. Um, I've been a psychotherapist for, it's been over 13 years, 14 years, somewhere in that time frame. And in the work I do, I also mix energy work, energy healing, and intuitive work. So that's kind of the base that I'm coming from. Kate, why don't you introduce yourself?
Thanks, Jess. I'm Kate Solisti. For those of you who don't know me, I have been an animal communicator for over 25 years. And the work I do is all about the intuition as well. So it's about tapping in intuitively to hear and receive the thoughts, feelings, and emotions of animals. And so Jess and I are excited to be presenting this together to help, to really be a team with the animals to help you all connect lovingly to your intuition and to your divine selves.
And right off the bat, we kind of told you that there would be a lot of different surprises coming up tonight. So right off the bat, we want to give you surprise number one. So when you receive the email from this workshop, you'll have all of the surprises in a nice little email. I'm giving you a PDF about backwards beliefs. It's called the 10 most popular backwards beliefs and how to transform them. And by the end of this workshop, you'll know exactly what a backwards belief is. So that's coming from here. And Kate also has something super exciting.
I do. I am going to be offering you guys a PDF that has the Solisti method of animal communication. So it's steps that you can practice and take to help you learn how to connect more deeply and communicate, receive, both give and receive communications correctly and easily with animals.
And Kate, just so we have it, what's your website?
My website is, my Harmony Pack website is www.myharmonypack.com. There's also katesolisti.com. So there's two. And thanks for asking. Jess, what are yours?
I have two as well. So Brain Healthy Clinic is my main website. And if you forget that, soul-full-sanctuary.com.
Wonderful.
And brainhealthyclinic.com. Perfect. So we thought we would start the evening off tonight by doing a grounding meditation. For those of you who don't know what grounding is when we really ground ourselves down and ask Mother Earth to help us ground ourselves to the earth, to create strength and balance and a foundation so that we don't really waver. When we're doing energy work, a lot of the time we will go into the ethers, which is fine, but sometimes that can feel a bit spacey. And emotionally, sometimes it can actually increase anxiety and fear and all of that. So when we're having an off day, we should be grounding every day. But when we're having an off day, especially, one of the tools you really want to reach for is grounding, to really plant you firmly on the earth plane. So if everyone wants to close their eyes, and we're going to start off by taking a deep breath. Okay, and when I say deep breath, we want to be breathing from the depths of our belly. We don't want to be breathing from our chest or our shoulders. We really want to be breathing from our belly. When we breathe from our chest and our shoulders, the air and the oxygen really isn't getting down into our system, and it's not going to help to actually relax you. It does even perpetuate all those emotions that you really don't want, that anxiety, stress, all those hyperarousal emotions. So while we're grounding, make sure you're breathing deep into your belly, okay? Make sure your feet are on the floor. And we're going to ask Mother Earth to please help us ground to the earth, to the grids of the earth, so that we can become one with the earth. And as we ground, you will start to feel changes starting in your feet. They will either feel heavy or magnetic, or sometimes they can feel tingly. And when you start feeling the shifts in your feet, you'll then notice the shifts come up through your legs and into your seat or your bum. And again, it will start to feel heavy or magnetic or tingly. And once we feel that, it will continue to come up our back, and the next place we will feel it is in our shoulders. And the next place we feel it will be coming out of our head. And when you feel grounded, open your eyes. Start wiggling your fingers and your toes. And you can come back to the here and now. Thank you. So, one of the reasons we do grounding and meditation, um, it's interesting because it's something we talk about a lot, especially in spiritual realms. I know that when I work with clients, a lot of the time, the first thing they do when I mention meditation or breath work is roll their eyes. And it becomes really important to understand why we are actually meditating, why we are actually doing exercises like grounding. Because what that does is it helps relax our nervous system. And in today's world where we are probably more stressed out than ever, where people are dealing with more and more, work hours are getting longer. We're definitely feeling the pressure of the world. And the more we feel that, the more hyper aroused our nervous system gets. When we are dealing with a hyper aroused nervous system, what that actually means is that we have two types of emotions. So the emotions that are hyper aroused emotions, anger, stress, anxiety, fear, it takes less time to get into that state. And it often keeps us spinning, and it keeps us really from achieving peace, happiness, and empowerment, which is our birthright. So it is our birthright to achieve peace, happiness, and empowerment. It becomes very difficult and challenging to do that when we're working from a place of such a hyper-aroused nervous system. So we really have to consciously work and learn how to calm ourselves down. Okay. And the hyper-aroused nervous system also really affects our intuition and opening up our senses. So we want to be very careful that we are able to feel in many different ways and be comfortable feeling by, first step, calming our nervous system and ourselves down. Kate, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Jess. We had talked about too how our animals mirror our emotional states. They mirror our illnesses, our issues. And a lot of my clients will say to me when we're talking, oh, please ask her to stop doing that. I don't want her to take on my stuff. And I have to tell them, well, we might as well ask them to stop breathing, because it is actually part of their mission to lighten our load, which means sometimes to take on all that stress and anger and issue, fear and separation. And I tell my human clients the most important thing for you to do is to work on yourself, to take care of yourself. Because if you're using your energy to care for you, your animal doesn't have to use their energy to hold that heavy load of yours. And the beauty of it is that a lot of people will do that for their animals where they would, up until then, they weren't willing to do it for themselves, just like they will do for their children. So our animals are conscious of that and give us this great gift of reminding us that by the mirror, that if they're out of balance, odds are good we are too. So that's where that mirroring comes in. And absolutely, when we talk about connecting to our intuition, communicating with the animals, communicating with our higher selves, our guides, whomever, we can't do that from a stressed out nervous system. We can't, that is antithetical to that calm, peaceful state of reception. When all that agitation is going on, we receive all kinds of stuff that isn't helpful at all, in fact, and creates tremendous confusion. And animals pick that up too. They don't want to come near us when we're in that agitated state. So this beautiful meditation of grounding and centering will also calm and center our animals and help them feel it's nice to be around us. They're going to want to be with us when we are in that space, because everybody gets to relax and drop down.
And I think that's really important, because, it's important to know that, first of all, our animals do empath us, and we can empath our animals as well. And when you see your animal being agitated and hyper aroused, it's a good thing to watch, and then to look within. As with what's outside of us is within us. As we see things, we go within. So there's so many really great clues and tools that are always around us, within ourselves, within our relationships with humans and our relationships with animals, that when we start paying attention to them, give us so many clues for growth and learning.
Absolutely. And I think that, again, being conscious and present is what allows us to make sense of those observations and to pay attention on these other levels. Because in order to connect to our divine selves and to listen to the messages of our soul, or the messages from animals, because it's not a different muscle, it's the intuition that lives in our hearts, I believe that the intuition is the voice of our heart and the voice of our soul coming through our hearts. Our brain is duality, and our hearts are unity and integration. And in order for us to tap into integration, we've got to be into that place that is integrated, not in the active, overactive mind, but in that gentle, calm heart space. And when we're tapping into the intuition, I love to explain it by, we set this intention that we want to listen to our intuition. And there's a few parts to this, because opening to listen is to do that beautiful exercise you did, going within and asking for information to come. But information comes to us in so many different ways. We have to be non-judgmental of that, not have expectations, but allow it to come. And at first it may drop in like a tiny little thought, or just a little poke, or a little idea, and the key is that we ground it, and we ground it by acknowledging it. Now that may be writing it in a journal, that may be actually acting on it. If your intuition says, take this road this morning, we follow that, because when we set the intention to listen to our intuition, it's like this little seedling that is planted in the earth, and it begins to come up through the earth. Now, for us to water and fertilize it so it can grow, we must acknowledge it. So we journal it. You can get yourself a beautiful journal and start writing down these little hits that you get. And you want to write down, oh, I took that left-hand turn, I took that different road, and my gosh, I avoided a huge, terrible accident. You want it, that is nurturing and start to blossom. But if we, on the other hand, we say, oh, I don't need to do that, or I want to go this way, I'm in a hurry, and we get stuck in horrible traffic. What we're doing is we're pounding that beautiful little seedling back down into the earth. And our intuition can't grow. We won't be able to hear our soul's messages. We won't be able to communicate to animals, because we're not acknowledging and allowing that intuition to grow.
Yeah, and I talk a lot about backwards beliefs. And when we talk about listening to our intuition and imagination, that really fits into what I say about how we have learned how to interpret our world. And we've learned how to interpret it pretty backwards. We've learned how to interpret it in ways that keep us locked in fear and anger and anxiety. Where when we start shifting those backwards beliefs, we come to a place of happiness, peace, and empowerment. And as I said before, it is our birthright to live from a place of happiness and peace and empowerment. And the question I always ask is, why aren't more people getting there? So when we start looking at those backwards beliefs, we've been taught that our imagination is not real. But when we start learning how to weave intuition into our lives and trusting it, imagination becomes very real. And as we start weaving everything, it takes on a very, very different meaning, because imagination does not exist in the way we've learned it. And in that realm, it becomes part of the process of opening up intuition is learning how to trust in yourself and in the universe, it becomes such a beautiful thing, because automatically, as you start opening up, as you start learning how to trust what the universe brings in, what you're getting from yourself and the world, it also starts opening up self-love. So it's really important to start looking at our belief systems and that kind of duality. the world can't have your back and not have your back. On a good day, we kind of go, the world has our back. Yay, everything's going the way we want it. But on a bad day, we go, oh, no one has my back. No one cares about me. And you can't have both. So when we start shifting those belief systems to come to a place of peace and love, everything starts shifting differently. And then it becomes, oh, now I trust in what's going on. Now I trust in the signs that I've been given and have been shown to me. I trust that those signs are really there for me. And I trust in the meaning that they bring to me.
That's just beautiful, because this whole first step of tapping into your intuition is all about trust, because you have to begin to accept that those backward beliefs that are going to talk to you and tell you that's your imagination, it's not real, you don't have imaginary friends, dogs don't talk, the rose bush can't tell you that, that those are tapes that will come back on you. And you have to just thank them and put them aside and say, I'm going to trust this now. I'm going to open to listen. And even if it sounds crazy, because that's, again, those are the beliefs, and that's not your true self speaking, you are going to just put those aside and say, I'm going to trust this. I'm going to listen. I'm going to ask. I'm going to wait to receive. It may not come like that. Our intuition takes really interesting, circuitous paths. It's not linear. So, but the more you listen and the more you trust it, the greater it grows. The more you can access it, and then you really are listening to your soul. And at that point, you can begin to say, "Okay, soul, I need guidance as to what I'm here to do." And that really takes us to the next piece, which is we're going to build on what Jessica shared with us, this beautiful meditation of grounding, and we're going to go into another meditation to help us connect with the council of canines, felines, and equines.
And just before we do, I just want to throw in there that often, what we think we want is not necessarily what's actually best for us. So sometimes we don't see what's coming in, or it's not coming in the way we want it to or think it should be. So we want to be very aware of that, because often it might not come in the way you think it should come in, but it always comes in the way that it's divinely planned. And we only see a fraction of what could be or what is. The universe sees it all. So when we start trusting, know that if what you're asking for is not coming in the way it's coming, the more you open up to different things, it always comes in. It just might come a bit differently. So with that being said, yes, Kate, okay, so let's do this. I'm excited for the messages.